there's some people out there that see this as a win, Ron, and there's a lot of people out there that see this as she caved, right? So that's the discussion we want to have.
Renegade Online.
For those of you who've been around watching a while, you know the story. Gina Carano was released from duty at Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars, back in February of 2021, following, as alleged by Disney, quote-unquote offensive tweets. Gina Carano turned around and filed a lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company with the offering of legal counsel from Elon Musk, and went after them under a very, let's call it a rather unique state statute in California that says you can't fire people because of political beliefs. And this goes back to, I believe, the McCarthy era, Ron, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at the result now. I loved this headline from Deadline. This really is the way Gina Carano pile drives Disney over Mandalorian firing with settlement and job offers. I mean, all of this is true. Ahead of a September trial date, Disney and Gina Carano have put down their lightsabers over the former MMA fighter's more than year-long discrimination lawsuit from her 2021 firing from The Mandalorian over political postings. In a joint filing today in federal court, the ex-Star Wars series star and the Bob Iger-run conglomerate asked for the Elon Musk-backed legal team to be dismissed, with the company clearly on bended knee, referring to Disney here. And again, this is Deadline magazine saying this. Now, here's the part, and I want to have a deeper conversation because, again, a lot of folks out there are a little upset about this. While no specific details on the settlement have been revealed, like whether she is getting her Rebel shock trooper Cara Dune role back as desired or any of the millions in damages she was seeking, Disney and Gina Carano clearly are back in business. To that, a source close to Gina Carano told me she is, quote, happy with how things were dealt with. Online earlier today, Gina posted a somewhat cryptic post at the time with a scattering of emojis, and the truth shall set you free. She said she's excited to flip the page and move on to the next chapter. On the other side of this, in the era of knee bending and ring kissing in the face of MAGA forces, the House of Mouse once again today adopted that trying to please red state tone it has been putting out there since Donald Trump took back the White House in November. A tone that was reinforced in late 24 when Disney paid the then president-elect $15 million to settle another lawsuit in what is still widely seen as a shakedown capitulation. Today, they tried to make it a bit more dignified. And this is the language that everybody's keyed in on, Ron. I want you to get your thoughts on this. Disney's statement was, the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues in her pending lawsuit against the companies. Ms. Carano was always respected by her directors, her co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. Ron, that seems to be the antithesis of what Disney was initially claiming in its defense and its motion for dismissal in this case some time ago. What do you think?
I think that is a very substantial component of the settlement. Gina made it very clear that her main concern is getting back to work in Hollywood. How old of a woman is Gina? You've met her.
She's probably, I'd say she's mid-30s.
She knows that if she's going to work in show business anymore, she can't wait around. What she needs is a couple of things. She doesn't need money. From what I understand, she's never needed money.
Yes. Her father, I believe, is a Las Vegas casino big-time magnate. Yeah.
She doesn't need to work with Disney. In fact, I would say that if Disney, as part of a settlement, offered to put her back into any Star Wars related property, that would be a deal killer. I'm being a little tongue in cheek there, but I don't really think she can work with Disney. I think the culture there is entirely too toxic. There would be a rebellion in the ranks if she were around. It's not going to happen again. But what I do think, and this is just pure speculation, the only way to make this deal happen, if I were her lawyer, is to say to Disney, you guys, you're the 500-pound gorilla of Hollywood. You have all kinds of relationships with all kinds of studios. Some you own, some you have other interests in. You have all kinds of platforms. What you did to Gina was take her off the list of people who were working and put her on a list of people who weren't working. You're going to get her X more projects in the next 24 months. Yeah. It doesn't have to be with Star Wars. And frankly, as I said, Star Wars sucks. Everyone hates everything having to do with Star Wars. And notwithstanding that he was popular in that role, this was the wrong time to force your way out to Star Wars, for God's sake. They couldn't pay me to do Star Wars, and they tried, believe me.
They didn't need any more Ewoks, Ron. No, but I want to get down here because you bring up the point, and this is what people are trying to debate over, the meaning of this. And I do want to discuss this. Should Gina or should she not go back to Star Wars? Because I have some thoughts on this, again, from the business side of things.
Well, you quoted, when you asked me the question, that language about how great it is to work with her. She's respected.
Yeah.
That was something, if she wants to work again, which she clearly does.
Here it is. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. She needs to be in a position where no one can say, according to Disney, I mean, they can say it.
Yeah.
But at least to the extent possible, it's no longer an official position of Disney that she was difficult to work with. It was a nasty, unnecessary, and probably unethical crack to make about her, assuming that indeed it was false. And after all, they're admitting now that it was false.
Yeah.
They're admitting that it was false.
It's a 180, Ron. It's a total 180 from what they were claiming in their defense.
And that's a big deal. I mean, she's asked, I'm looking at some of the comments, and of course, everyone has opinion on this, and that's reasonable. But
sure,
she needs to get back to work. You can't get into movies with money. Her best years as an actress are now. The deal has got to be Disney's going to do something to get her working again and to reestablish herself as a bankable working actor. Did money change hands? Maybe. It's possible. The money is pretty insignificant here. But as you point out, the acknowledgement that she's a doll, she's a great gal to work with, is part of that package. And again, of course, we don't really know. We don't know what's in there. But I would be surprised if she ends. I really don't think she's going to end up working for Disney. And one of our friends, in the chat said, "No, it would be great. It would be great. It would be perfect, and it might be in an alternative universe." But just going back to the drum that I have beat on this topic for now a couple of years that you've had me on the show on and off, Disney institutionally, the culture of the place, no matter what they're doing in the C-suite to come around to understanding that they're not going to drag a left wing Hollywood worldview, into the theaters. That's not going to work. That isn't true on the creatives, among the creatives. They're still the same a-holes they've always been, and it's better for her and for them to stay apart. There are other studios. Disney can make it happen. Let's not kid ourselves. If we had the ghost of Al Wasserman here, Al Wasserman?
Lou Wasserman's ghost.
Lou Wasserman would have no trouble explaining to us the geometry of how that could go.
But I love this line. In case you had any doubt who was the victor here, let the last sentence of the Disney and Lucasfilm statement hit you hard. Quote, and this is from the Walt Disney Company. This is from their legal team and their PR team. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Ms. Carano in the near future. Boom. That last part is the author's words.
You see,
So-
but there are so many,
Right.
there's so much hedging in this.
Yes.
We look forward to, in other words, we're not doing it,
Right.
identifying opportunities. Not yet, not right this second. No,
Yeah.
no, but let's to work together. You know what that can include? Co-producer. I mean, there's a million ways to work together, short of putting someone on a set. There could very well be a set. Could well be a project where the personnel would be welcome. Maybe there's, or maybe they're gonna really start focusing on, making more down the middle movies. I mean, the fact is, in a way, if I'm Disney, this takes so much. This is a good outcome for Disney. Also, they avoid public dispersal and publication of their internal communications and all the awkwardness that we discussed with gleeful anticipation.
Clearly, that was the big thing for Disney, right? They didn't want to go to Discovery. They didn't want all these emails that Gina was sitting on to come out.
They had a December trial date, which is usually a control date more than an actual date. But things do kind of move fast in the Northern District of California. But there's been discovery. There's clearly been discovery. Disney tried to get out of Discovery. Keep in mind, no matter what happens, wherever this goes, Gina won.
Yeah.
This decision, the decision denying the summary judgment motion by Disney, was huge.
Yeah. We covered that.
It doesn't technically control future lawsuits, but it's highly persuasive. It didn't come from a partisan Trump judge.
No.
It was wasn't it a woman of color?
Yeah, this was
judge?
a California Democrat black woman judge.
That's how down the middle that precedent was. This is the getting to this point was a huge loss for Disney.
Yes.
Anyone who thinks, now I know that some of the positions that I've seen in the chat are she was bribed to, she was paid off. Dude, that's what you do in a lawsuit. You that's what you're doing. You're gonna have to pay me off in order not to put this in front of
You're trying to get the other side to capitulate, right? Either through a mutual agreement pre-trial or okay, let's go to court. But one way or another, one side is trying to get the other to capitulate.
But if they go to trial, she's certainly never going to work again.
You have a point there. And Ron, let me ask you this, because there's a lot of question in the chat and very unlawyerly of me, since I'm not one, I'm going to ask a question I truly don't know the answer to. If this had actually gone to trial, let's say that Disney could not offer something to Gina that she and her team found amenable enough to agree to the dismissal. This goes to trial, which in normal circumstances, I suppose, would have been on the public record, of course. Could the Walt Disney Company have petitioned, number one, and number two, if so, what are the chances it would have been successful? The court in this case to seal the case from public view, or at least some of the discovery evidence that would have been introduced, such as the emails and the evidence that Gina was using. Could Disney have asked the judge to seal this, even if it went to trial? We may never have seen anything.
No.
Okay.
No. Although there are notorious cases where material has been contrary to constitutional interests, and many decisions of the Supreme Court and other appellate courts. There have been a handful of cases, let's put Epstein aside, where stuff has been sealed. The only things that could have been sealed in a case like this would have been private information, stuff that really personal stuff. It's even hard for me to imagine much in the manner of a proprietary information that could have been sealed. But even then, you're talking about redactions of certain, integers,
Okay.
that sort of thing. No, a great deal of it would have become public either through pretrial motions or in the course of the trial. So no, there was that wasn't going to happen. That's what Disney lost, and that's why they made that Hail Mary to appeal the case, to take what's called an interlocutory appeal, which is typically not allowed in a federal case.
And it wasn't in this one.
And it certainly wasn't in this one. And it was crazy to think that it would be. But again, it was a Hail Mary because you can certainly. Well, the Ninth Circuit has gotten a lot better because there are a lot more Republican judges now. Now really it's the first that's the worst. But the Ninth Circuit wasn't hearing it.
Well, I tell you what, you're bringing up Hail Marys, Ron, for you and the audience out there. Disney owns the exclusive broadcast rights to Southeastern Conference football, the biggest college football conference in terms of audience by far out there in America. And I'm telling you right now, I think I've seen more Hail Marys in the last few years from Disney's legal team than the entirety of the SEC. ESPN.
There's a segue that you worked hard for.
That was actually, I just thought that up right off the cuff. That was.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.